And shalom, shalom.
Howdy.
Sister Kate here and Pastor Joe.
I'm going to put this on my Patreon and then I'll come back and monitor the comments.
That's right. So I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes. It is an absolutely gorgeous day.
Perfectly.
Perfect.
We're not going to talk
Sunny.
about what we did earlier.
Correct.
OPSEC, bro.
Upset, bro. Sunny, warm, perfect temperature, just great. What did I do this morning? I let my ducks out. So the ducks are in the greater Orchard area. Shalom, shalom, NWA proper, Mark Catlin, and Doc B. Shalom. They're in the greater Orchard area, which has a fence around it. It's just regular field fence. And then outside of that are little areas of the property that are really wet and have little creeklets and stuff in it. And so once the ducks got used to being back down there in their duck house, just like in the evening, I would go down, I would open that gate, and there's one female duck. She's on it. She's switched on, and she noticed the gate was open, and so she went outside. And immediately outside, there's a little rivulet and some mud, and she got on it like a duck does, and she's swishing the water through her bill. It makes this shit like sound.
Sister Kate Show Farm Mountain, right?
Yes. And so they really like that. So the whole flock eventually figures out what's going on because they talk to each other and duck talk, and they all eventually get out and they start doing that, squishing and blah, blah, blah. And we had rain yesterday. So that makes it even better because the little puddles and rivulets and everything are, have some moisture to them. And they were having the time of their lives today. They were out all day long, and they wound up following the course of one little streamlet out of sight of the orchard and down a hill where a lot of the water had sort of pooled, so it was kind of wet and muddy. Like if you had pigs, that would be a perfect place to keep them because they could wallow and get all covered in the mud.
Pigs do like to waller.
But for ducks is good because they're looking for stuff, I guess, in the mud to eat. Little larvae and bugs and whatever, eggs and so on.
I'll be right back and then I'll do comments.
All right, and so we when I went down there this afternoon and I was calling to them because my ducks, I always call to them. Breeze here in Kentucky, shalom. Sheepdog Patriot, shalom. Chasing Life. Oh, good to see you. Michael, shalom. John Houchin, hello. Hey, shalom, Mark. So yeah, when I went down there and I called them, they didn't return my call, and I figured, they're probably not in the immediate area. And I had my Ridgeback with me, and he was looking down over the hill area, like ears perked, looking down there. And I figured that's probably where they were. He could hear them talking, so we walked down, and I called to them, and they were like, "Quack." Not super excited. It's kind of like little kids playing in a mud puddle, and mom's going, "Where are you?" We're down here. Covered, whole face covered in mud, and then just slowly, all right, you got to get back. You got to go back in the orchard.
Mikey said shalom from the Missouri Ozarks.
Shalom, McMikey.
Suze S. Kofer. Hello, Sister Kate. Palmetto Paratrooper.
Shalom,
Albo
brother.
X.
Albo.
In there, rocking chairs. Albo's here.
That's right. We will be interested in hearing his input.
Osnell, Mark Caitlin.
And shalom. Mark, shalom. So the ducks all got herded back in the outer fence. They know at dusk is when they all go into the duck house. And so then I walk back.
See, I'm not going to be able to moderate. YouTube hates me. And see, I just wrote howdy and it didn't come up.
Use your other phone. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
My other phone has no battery.
Northern Maine.
That's okay.
Yay.
I can still read what's going on.
Sure, you can read it, and I guess I can. Well, PP, are you still a moderator for me?
If they're a moderator, they show up blue. Don't mess with that. You just talk. I got this.
He had 6 teeth extracted.
Who did?
Palmetto Paratrooper.
Ugh.
Wow. And then there's a Pedrig. How do you pronounce that? It's Irish, right? Pedrig? For Patrick?
I don't know. Maybe.
So then I came back from the duck area This is all the duck like intro, so you guys can all gather together and say hey to get everybody. And then Pastor told me
We going now?
we're going.
We're going? We're here? We're in?
We're on. Pastor
Stand by,
told me.
stand by, stand by. All right, hey, oil just dropped to the lowest ever.
Ever.
Like futures are trading at minus $37.
Minus $37 a barrel.
Never
right?
never happened.
Never happened.
Our economy is based in large part to our oil and our participation in the petrodollar and all of that. And what does it mean? What does it all mean?
What does it mean, Pastor Joe?
Has chaos finally arrived at our gates?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't care. It
'Cause
arrives at our gates.
it's a huge industry. I mean, the oil industry is a huge industry.
And then the spin-offs from that.
Right, all the different things from that, and Houston and Dallas and the refineries and the trucks that carry the oil and all the little gas stations and you buy it, you know, where everybody gets their gas. Everybody's linked in to the oil. I mean, for it to be trading at negative dollars means everyone who's holding
Well, it's going to affect,
means they have to pay back, right?
well, like people's pension funds.
Yeah, that
They're all based on this stuff. And so if the bottom falls out of that, the bottom's falling out of your pension fund.
right, meaning you get $0 because when it's a negative, you're having to pay money
To get rid of it.
to get rid of it. When the stock market goes negative, your stocks have no value and you have to pay.
And so, you know, I watched years ago.
Peak oil?
I watched years ago, Iceland went through an economic crisis. And the first thing they did was remove the pension plan for all their federal employees. And I guess I should be reading this while I talk.
Or let me read it while
Here
you
you go.
talk.
You just read it there.
Yeah, okay.
Don't touch anything that messes it up. Stupid phone. And so then Cyprus did the same thing. And so it's really easy to tap. How do we lower this?
This thing right here.
right.
You can lower it.
It's really easy to tap the federal workers, if you will, first. And so that's what they did in Cyprus. And so I had a 401k from the federal government, and I decided, you know what? I don't trust them not to take it. And so we cashed it in and built this house with the money. We bought 2x4s.
Two good
with it.
questions when you have a minute.
Go ahead.
Will this affect military and .gov pensions?
In the short term, no. Because that they guarantee you an amount of money, not a percent of anything.
And second is,
.gov pensions? Yes, it will.
yes, it will, he's saying. And the other one's not a question. It's Shalom from the insanity that is Canada.
Yeah.
Because Canada just had
The biggest mass killing ever.
biggest mass killing in their national history yesterday, right?
I think it was Saturday night.
Saturday night. Never happens up there.
Let's not get off track. on
Okay.
that. So this could be a historical moment and it could not be. I'm kind of interested in any of y'all's comments who actually know what you're talking about.
Shalom from Australia.
But oil is really important to us. I remember when people used to chant and say and do posters, no blood for oil, first Gulf War, Desert Storm. And I'm like, no, I'm all for blood for oil. Our country runs on oil. And whatever we need to do to keep our country going, I'm all for that. If there's no money in oil, and again, it could be a temporary thing, right? But it could also just be we're on the precipice. It could be like when JFK got shot, and everyone's like, I remember where I was when I heard JFK was shot. The modern version of that is I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. This could be the beginning of a huge crash. It could also be a nothing burger. What say you?
Yeah, what do you guys think? Nicole Marie said, what if I work for the state? It's a public state pension.
Yeah, I mean, what is it based on? I'll tell you this. In 2008, when they had that huge housing crisis and the big downturn and stuff, I was a federal government employee, and I had an office mate who was fixing to retire. Like in the next year, he was planning on retiring. And man, he was old. like 60 something years old. He'd been in the military forever. He'd been a government employee forever. And he's looking for to drive in his Triumph and, being a retired guy. And that 2008 crisis wiped out his pension, his TSP, wiped it out. He had to work for several more years. He almost got sick when he realized what was going on. So I'm thinking probably state employees might be in that too. All the more reason to cash out now.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. They're
Buy
saying
your
they're
place
trying.
in the country, grow your own food, provide for yourself, pay it off, live simply.
This
Our living room in one house we had overseas could swallow our whole house. That we now live in. We had a living room that would swallow this house. Change the way you live. What?
Al is saying it's a possible crash to get us out of the fiat-controlled, owned by the Fed dollar.
Yeah, and then when they take us out of the dollar, and Albo, you know this as well as anybody, watch what happens. They want to get rid of cash. Because they can't control. I could give anybody on here chatting cash money for something. And nobody knows what we just did except you and me. Because I gave you cash and you gave me this thing. Or vice versa. I could sell you my glasses for $5. No problem. They don't want that. They want control. And so I really think they're going to try and get rid of cash. And the real reason, despite everything they're going to say, the real reason is total control that they want to do. And what's coming right behind that is the mark of the beast, without which you cannot buy, trade, or sell.
The tribal lady said, pop your favorite, get your favorite beverage, and sit in your favorite chair. The movie is just getting started.
Oh, yes. You know when you're on a really good like wooden roller coaster and you're going clack, 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 and you're going up to the first hill, which is usually the biggest one, and it's like, and then you get up over the edge and the first couple cars go down slow, and then boom, you go. That's where I think we are.
Titus Weeks says this could result in a direct impact on the rail industry. BNSF, for example, has extremely large involvement in the oil industry. Tertiary impacts through rail-based logistics could be substantial.
The government will not let rails fail. They won't let trucks fail either, to the best of their ability.
Right.
Because our
everything
country will
depends
not
on
work
it.
without rail or trucks.
Right. Got to have that transportation. Got to be able to move stuff from here to there in this country.
Anybody know about the barge traffic on the Mississippi River from New Orleans to all the way up to St. Louis and maybe beyond? I talked to a barge captain one time. What a fascinating job, and people don't understand the industry.
Someone else said, isn't it interesting that Russia just started the thing with Saudi Arabia, and then now this happens.
So what do countries do when their economies just go into the toilet?
They go to war with somebody.
They go to war. War's coming, big war.
Someone else said, my dad is a railroad and retiree. He is not getting his CARES check. I don't know what that is.
It's probably his retirement check.
And there's another something that Pastor and I were talking about that's also kind of a tertiary issue is China has been doing things, kind of on the DL for a while that has been increasing their position of power worldwide.
Smithfield Ham, latest thing.
Right, but they've been encroaching in Africa. That's why there's troops in Africa.
That's why we have AFRICOM.
That's why we have AFRICOM, and they've been doing it since like the late '60s because the CIA was doing things in Africa, watching the communists making their inroads. Because
sure, Angola,
Africa,
Mozambique.
Right, Africa is a mineral-rich continent.
Controlled by idiots who can't get their act together.
They got the gold, they got the titanium, they got the diamonds, they got everything there. Coltan. So there's that going on. Plus with the Wuhan, first here in America,
Wuhan.
we saw them. We witnessed reading newspaper articles and stuff like that, where they were starting to buy a lot of real estate in America. They were buying up, ports in California, control of the Panama Canal, and then companies and just bits of property all around the states. Because China has a long view. Way back in college, when I took a history class that was about
We have smart people on here.
yeah, civilization and Asia and all that stuff. China has a very long view. They do not.
Shalom, Mozart geek.
Shalom, all y'all have said shalom, shalom back. They don't want to get into like a Hitler kind of trying to take over the world and have all these fronts and battles and I've got to have all my planes and everything. They want to do this stuff smart. They want to do it slow and they want to do it without losing much of anything. They don't want to risk a whole lot. But one thing we know, because we've been traveled, in many, many places around the world, there's a Chinese restaurant in every little town in America.
And they're real Chinese. They're not Chinese Americans.
No, they're real Chinese, speaking Chinese. They are running all the businesses in Malaysia. Singapore is ethnic Chinese. They're in a lot of places, and that's one way to get that little bit of control at a time, right? They're just getting everybody's dollars, and they're sending it back to China. And they gather intel. People come in there every day, having their lunch buffet, talking about whatever, their business, who they know, blah, 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 and they're listening. So it's very interesting. The playing board, the risk board is getting very, very interesting because you've got pandemic, now you've got an oil
Okay,
thing.
there's lots of things to talk about.
Sure, go.
All
Jump
right,
in
so
there.
somebody said, what's the big war? A big war in my mind is the U.S. and either and or China and Russia. If not directly fighting each other, one step back. I think that's a big war. We almost got there in Syria, but not quite. So that's one. Somebody asked about barter. Oh yeah, barter's going to be a thing. And wait, I saw a cool question. Where'd it go? What are your thoughts on a covert barter shop for everyone in an area to be able to exchange goods after electronic only currency? And the mark of the beast, good, bad, how would it work? They're going to spring up. They just are going to spring up. And already out in the country, people barter.
Right. It's
And
very
some barter
entrepreneurial.
isn't, I'll give you a dozen eggs for your 3 flats of blackberries. Some of it isn't like that. Some of it is just like establishing goodwill. And John Mosby, who does a lot of books and has the Mountain Gorilla blog and all that stuff, he understands this deeply, and he has a word for it, but basically you generate goodwill. And that happens. We do that now with our neighbors. We give away goats, they give us tomatoes, we give this, they give that, we help out here, they help out here. And so that community spiritedness works out. And you don't really get a taste of that in the suburbs and in the cities. It's more, yeah, thank you. It's more organic out here. Will there be absolute barter? Sure. When that kind of system sets up, it'll start happening. But you can bet your bottom dollar the powers that be, whether it's the communist Chinese, you watch that movie Jericho. If somebody, military power comes in and takes over, whether it's them or it's whoever, they're going to try and control that barter. Just like people say now, oh, don't buy gold bullion. The government confiscated it all back in the, 70s or something? Really? Do you think people are going to give up their gold and silver when the government says you can't have it anymore? It ain't going to happen. Do you think people are still going to trade in it? Sure, they're going to trade in it. What else you got?
A covert barter shop is not going to remain covert for long if it's static.
Right. It's got to be organic. And I don't want to turn this into a treatise on bartering.
That's fine.
I've done that on Patreon.
Well, that's all there is right on there.
Everybody's talking about bartering.
Yeah. Doesn't Africa have the majority of mines containing the element that is used for cameras and so on?
I think it's coltan, Koltan.
I think that's what Pastor was talking about. They have, the tech
There's
companies
some
need it.
weird mineral. I think it's called coltan. Might be with a C. And it's in like the part of Africa. Africa looks like this, right in here, like a Ouagadougou. Why do I know where a Ouagadougou is?
Because you looked it up once.
No, because we do a lot of things in that area. Why do we do a lot of things in there? I looked into it one time. It's like, why are we getting all this interest in a Ouagadougou? And what is that? Cote d'Ivoire's down there, and what do they have going for them? Coltan. It's used in like laptops and cell phones, and for all I know, it's used in military UFOs or whatever. And a lot of it's in Russia, and a lot of it's there. You think people want it? They want it.
Sure.
Look at these flies.
I know, it's terrible. Ryan asked if the market's going to crash or cash is going to go away. What do you do?
The
with your
economy's
cash?
going to crash. Here's the thing. I was just watching a guy in Thailand, and I watch him off and on. I watch a lot of expat blogs because I'm always looking for another place for me and Sister Kate to flee to. Right now, the big tip's Vietnam. But anyway, this guy's in Thailand, and he just renovated a little like U-shaped motel with a bar in the middle and a couple bungalows, and he was going to open it up to expats and tourists and that kind of thing. And he got it all ready to go in January, and then coronavirus hit, and he was talking about the impact on the industry. No one's traveling, no one's visiting, yada yada yada. And then today we took a drive. We're really not going to talk about OPSEC, bro. But we got to see a lot of businesses. They're all closed. Well, most businesses, unfortunately, are operating on the margins. They need to make so many sales a week, a month to be able to pay the mortgage and the overhead and the rent and everything else. And they're not making that right now. And so a lot of businesses are going to fail. And here's the deal. You buy a building and get a mortgage, and then all of a sudden you can't pay it and you default on it. You still owe. And so, yeah, I think our economy is going to take a hit.
Is the government going to confiscate people's hoarding food?
How are they going to do that?
Give you a mark?
How are they going to do that? I mean, work that out in your mind. Are they going to go house to house and search every house top to bottom?
They have a record on your credit card of how much food you
Yeah, so
you
what?
buy
I
or
mean, so
whatever.
you have, let's say you have 2 years worth of food in your basement. You and your family. Do you know how much that is in the big picture? That's nothing. And so they send people to come get it, and shots ring out because that's what'll happen. It's just not worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze.
John
No, I
Mosby talks a lot about balkanization. How
That's
do you
what's
think
happening.
the current Coronageddon situation could affect that kind of shift at a local micro level?
I like that word, Coronageddon. I believe the country is going to balkanize. We're already kind of doing it. That's why I tell you guys, come out of her, my people. These shirts are going to go up for sale pretty soon again, too. Come out of her, my people. You need to get away from those built-up areas and get out into the country and fit in.
Well, and I wanted to make a point about that because if you guys watched, any of my videos where I talked about flu, and if you watch Pastor's videos where he talks about come out, where were the largest number of corona cases in the United States?
Big cities.
New York City had the biggest amount. They had
Seattle.
amounts, that were larger than entire state swaths together. That's the whole point of wanting to get away from a big city, is that the big city becomes the petri dish, and it becomes the place where there's food shortages, and it's where crime
I'm
breaks
going to
out and
interrupt you
all
and
that
you
other
continue.
stuff.
Palmetto Paratrooper. Southeastern U.S. has been trying to balkanize since 1861. I like that comment. Go ahead. Sorry.
But that's when you have everyone concentrated in a really small area, especially like New York, because he did a research on that one time, like the amount of cars per road there.
Rand did a research.
Or
on it.
Rand did a research on it. It's just crazy. They don't have near enough road for all the cars that were there. The city needed to be resupplied with food just for one day, 5 times a day to feed everybody, like in Manhattan. The logistics of it just becomes a huge problem if anything goes wrong, like Corona, like the oil crash. If gasoline becomes affected, everyone.
Westfold Forge is here.
Yeah, he said hey a little bit earlier.
Hello, Westfold Forge.
If if gasoline is affected, if it gets hard to get gasoline, that makes a huge difference in every American's life,
And Bear
because
for Freedom gets it.
we all drive somewhere, right? I mean, even us retired folks who can sit here and not really need to go anywhere.
Kun Gordon, Sawadee Kop, Kun Sabaydi Le Kop. All right, Gordon's
Gordon,
here.
welcome. Sawadee ka. But it affects everybody, even us. To go get our mail, we drive. You know what I'm saying? Find an American who doesn't drive somewhere for something, even if it's just a few blocks down the road. It's going to affect everybody. Well, it's going to affect people in cities even more, because they're counting on supplies coming in and out of the city to feed the city and everything else. And if the gasoline is unavailable or hard to get or whatever, now you're in real trouble. So the oil crash is very significant. You've got to keep your eye on what's going to happen with that. Because
And you know what? No matter what happens, whether it's war with China, nuclear war with Russia, gas crisis, blah, 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 getting out on your own, becoming as independent as you can, food security, heat and cooling security, meaning providing for yourself, self-sufficient to the extent
getting
that
away
you can.
from targets.
So, getting away from targets, built up areas. Do the best you can with that. That will help you immensely. And, I tell people, I think the Father's calling his people to the Ozarks, but anywhere in a rural area is going to be so much better, because all the focus is going to be where the people are. The people are the power. And so when Detroit is burning, the government is going to throw massive resources on Detroit. Out there in the cornfields of Iowa, nobody cares, man. I mean, they're just not going to be there. You want to get away from the problems.
Time to build a tuk-tuk, someone said. Somebody else said horses. Let me tell you something about horses.
It's like a boat, a hole in the water into which one pours money.
That is not what I was going to say.
I know you weren't.
Horses are live animals, okay? And there's a thing about them. Like, they're the whole horse whisperer and horse trainers, and there's guys who do nothing on their channel but teach you how to break your horse and train it to behave itself.
I guess I should read this one.
It's a real thing. And if for some reason you wanted to try horses, I don't even know how to express it to you. They're not all like cute puppy dogs. And you have to know something about the horse. It's going to be very rare for you to be able to find a horse you can afford who is broke and will do the things you want it to do. And you have to know what to tell the horse. You can't just talk to him, right? There's the gear that's on him. You have to be able to sit on that horse and pull the rein to the right to make it go to the right, and pull the rein to the left, and pull the reins to the rear to make them stop. So if you are interested in horses, if you think horses are something that may be necessary, you should be getting lessons right now, and you should be looking into all the different breeds of horses, because they come in all different shapes and sizes.
No one who doesn't know anything about horses is going to end up
I'm
with
just
horses.
saying, popping your bubble or not, you can throw it out there, but it's not as easy as saying ATV. Because ATV, pretty darn easy to control and everything, and, gets decent gas mileage.
Hold on, I gotta fix this. My
That's
phone
fine.
isn't working.
We have 3 horses, and out of 3, 1 is an idiot. I had 1 horse, and he was really good for me to ride, but I still had not established the correct leadership thing with him. And so when we had to stop anywhere and spend any time, he freaked out. He was constantly shifting and moving and snorting and all this other stuff. And now I know, now that he's passed on, what I needed to have done with him to get him over that. But I spent 13 years with that horse. I think it was 13. It's either 13 or 15 years. And the rest of it was fine. Walk, trot, jump, all that. He never threw me, not one time. So I got a good horse. And I picked a breed that I thought would be best for me. But it's not that easy. And if you think horses would be a thing also, like he said, livery stables, there's an entrepreneurial opportunity for you. Set up a livery stable.
Matt Fulkerson.
There we go.
Less than a week and we were in the middle of
Well,
the
hallelujah.
Isn't this Matt and Vicky or not?
Yes, it is definitely Vicky.
When
and
are you
Matt.
guys coming out here?
He just said less than a week.
Okay. Is that here? Are they coming here?
Yeah, they're coming to the Ozarks.
All right.
Hallelujah. One impact will oil crash up on truckers. Right now, the
I mean,
truckers,
fuel is cheap right now, right? I mean, we just passed a couple places 99-cent fuel today. So that should be good for truckers.
also they're really essential. Like the government and everything is not going to let the truckers just disappear. They're very, very important.
I can read the comments. You can talk. Or do you want me to talk?
Well, we've been going back and forth because I wanted to see if there was a question or something, and then
Okay.
or a comment.
Well, you can hold that one. I'll hold this one.
We had 32 of our own at one time. We're down to 10 and can't wait for them to pass. The oldest is 35 and the youngest is 20.
Cassie, wife of Narrowgate.
Yeah.
I've been in the Ozarks for 6 months.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to the Ozarks.
Yeah, we met them. Cassie and Rob.
We meet so many people.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
She
Sorry.
said that her retirement fund, she just cashed it out. She's trying to tell someone else to too. Petrodollar and USD trading oil.
$1.25 in Virginia, Jack Johnson says. That's good.
It's so cheap.
That's cheap.
So cheap for Virginia.
What part of Virginia? And I don't need your home address, but are Nova or the Valley, Tidewater? What?
Is gas or diesel preferred in a fuel scarcity?
It's not going to matter. It's really not going to matter. People talk about the best thing you can do is get the most fuel efficient vehicle you can have. Whether if you can use a moped where you are, awesome. And if you can't, then something that sips gas. So when gas becomes crazy, you can at least go somewhere. But all that is just putting off the inevitable. If this goes the full Monty, there won't be any gas for you. The gas will be allocated to truckers and things like that
So
to make the country run.
C103 asked a really good question.
C103.
Will the gas oil thing crashing, would that affect home values and prices?
Oh yeah, it's going to make everything go down.
Yeah.
And it will make land values go down because there will be less money in the economy for people to throw at stuff.
A lot less money.
And so, yeah, house prices and land prices could go down. Thing is, people who are trying to come out of her, my people, and go buy country land, how long can you wait? I think you're late already. I've been saying it for years. So, I don't know.
Although there would be opportunity too, because rural land
Yeah, Westhold Forge, get the motorcycle running. Absolutely.
may be more in demand because people want to leave the city, or maybe it'll be less in demand because
And
the
store
city's the
gas.
only place that has anything going on.
Crazy Canuck said his house was worth $40K less than 4 years ago.
Wow.
80 cents a gallon. I mean, it makes you want to get like 100-gallon tank and store it up. But see, even that, I mean, picture 100 gallons of gasoline when the average suburbanite has less than 10. 100 gallons of gas, big deal. Eventually that runs out too, right?
And then you're down to horses.
Or bicycles.
Yeah, bicycles. Shalane saying it did crash or it's going to. Depending on him, it crashed. It's in the news. It's on Twitter. It's negative $37 a barrel in the futures market,
Right.
which makes it suddenly have very, very little value, which is a big impact on our country.
Should one buy a side-by-side UTV? Do you have disposable income? I mean, it's not like you're going to drive it down the street to the grocery store. How come they did not slow down production at any point? I don't know. You're talking to the wrong guy.
What, for gas, you mean?
Mhm.
Didn't someone just tell us that stuff was shutting down?
Well, our gas is shutting down because below $100 a barrel, it's not worth it to explore for more gas. So the exploratory rigs close up. And then below a certain point, and we're well below that now, it's not worth it to pump it out of the ground or from under the ocean. And so they stack rigs. They close them up and
Yep.
they move them into port and they tell everybody you're furloughed, you're laid off or whatever.
Yep.
And because it costs a lot of money. I mean, in the oil industry, which I worked in for a while, they pay their people very, very well because the job is hard and it sucks and you're away from your family. And so whatever, they pay well. But just the equipment they use, the technology they use, the science, the mechanics, the engineering they use cost a lot of money. And so sucking that black gold out, that gold, Texas crude, out of the ground, it costs money. And when oil drops to a certain point, they're losing money bringing it out. So they're not stupid. They're not going to do that.
Suze, you are correct there, but I think the answer to that would be to have more than one pasture and rotate and have other animals rotating also because you want the grass healthy. And I've heard that about sheep too, that cattle don't do that, but sheep do. They'll just eat it down to nothing.
So let me address perfect and weakness.
Yes.
Perfect and weakness. Why can't we use our own oil and tell the Saudis and Russians to keep theirs? Well, we will. But here's the deal. We're a net exporter of oil. The United States exports oil. When we export that oil, we get paid money for it. That money goes to Americans, and those Americans spend that money at restaurants, at car dealerships, at gun stores, at the grocery store, everywhere else. And when we quit exporting that, we quit getting that money. All of a sudden, that disposable income is gone, and all that trickle down works. And the economy suffers when our oil isn't being sold.
So Tom McMinn said we have to have the COVID shutdown so demand comes back. The June future is $26.
We'll see.
They're reporting that it's minus 37 for oil future right now.
Mm-hmm.
As a single man, would it be all right to just go live in the woods when things get so intense?
You're going to starve to death? If you think you're not going to starve to death, here's what I challenge you. Go do it now. Go do it now. Go live in the woods for 60 days. Report back. Tell us how you did.
There's also shows about people who live that way, and it is a very marginal existence. Even guys who are know the woods, know what kind of things they want to hunt, etc. It gets very, very marginal. It's so much better to grow crops.
Thundering like crazy in Tulsa.
Whoa!
We're actually pretty close to Tulsa. That's sweet here. Huh.
Thank you for what you both do, Pastor. You're
Bless you.
welcome. Whoa! What is that? Hang on. Hold that.
Oh, no! Oh,
What
hey,
is
wait,
that?
is it a chicken or is it an animal?
I don't even know. What is that?
So here, I'll pick up. Our dog is running across the field with something brown and mildly large in his mouth. That could be one of our new chickens. If that's the case, you're going to hear Sister Kate go off and beat her dog. If it... All right, tell him he's a good boy. It's a piece of rawhide. They found a dead cow somewhere, and they were dragging it back. It looked like one of our new chickens, and she was going to eat that 100-pound Ridgeback like you wouldn't believe. All right, hallelujah. No drama on the homestead.
No problem. It's okay.
It sounded like it was squeaking, though, right? Like,
No, that's the baby.
oh.
That's the baby goat down there. Whoa.
You know
This
that's
is
day
what-
drinking.
Poor pastor has to put up with. He
I
was
do.
probably thinking to himself, she's not going to make it. And then watched as the whole thing unfolded. Oh, well. Yeah, we had to put the phone on a battery because we wanted to do the live stream, but my phone was almost out. So I just jankified the whole thing. Stay tuned, technical difficulties, etc. Thank you. Woo! A little bit of excitement I didn't really need.
Action Jackson, you are going to love your blacksmithing class. Westhold Forge is my master. He has trained me in blacksmithing, and then I went out to West Virginia with the Viking group out there in West Virginia, and the group leader from Ohio came out, and he gave a class also, and
It was good.
you're going to love it.
It was very interesting. I enjoyed that. They're now drama. Yeah.
We don't like drama.
We
We really
really
don't.
we don't. It's just really bad on your nerves to have to put up with drama. So we try to keep it to a minimum. But sometimes,
Okay, Amber Lang, what is balkanization? It is the breakup of the United States of America, in this case, when we're talking about it, into regional
flavors.
opposition forces. And so the balkanization, if you could picture the Southeast forming its own little entity, and they don't like the people in the Northeast, and nobody likes the people in the breadbasket, and those hippie, grunge, pot smoking people up in the Pacific Northwest, forget about them. Southern California, are you kidding me? And so it's all these different groups of people, and they're no longer one unified country. They have broken up, much as the Balkans did when the former Republic of Yugoslavia broke up.
Oh, Okie Storm Chaser, thank you very much. Storms are along a highway north of us, so.
Awesome.
Hit hot metal till it's like what you want. Well,
Hey,
there you
Prepping in
go.
Progress is here. Hey, guys.
Hey, prepping in progress. I've
One
been
of
able
us has to
catch-
look at the camera. Do you want that to be you or me? I can talk on the drop of a hat.
Well, we need to find a good thing to talk on. See,
Okay,
we've
so
been
you
going
read
back
that,
and
and
forth.
I'll keep going.
I did. I hit hot metal. Eastern Oregon wants to
So-
be part of Idaho.
Sister Kate bought me, before I had beat any hot metal, she bought me a Forge for Christmas one year. So I'll tell you how long ago that was. And it wasn't a Forge. She bought me a station. It was like a metal stand, and it had a piece of railroad tie for an anvil and some tongs and a hammer and a grinder.
Yeah, I think it had a grinder on one end and then the railroad thing on the other.
And then another guy who had the internet name Scavenger. And if you Google Scavenger built Forge, you can find it. And he built this thing. This guy made his living by going around and junking metal and steel and stuff like that. And he built stuff. And I went to an event at his house that was organized on the internet where people from all over came to his farm, and we learned how to butcher and put up a pig, which will tell you how long ago that was. And he and I took a liking to each other and gave me the Scavenger built Forge, which he made out of tractor like wheel hub things, and it had a blower on it and all this stuff. And so I still have that at an alternate location, and I want to build a roofed over facility to set the whole thing up in, much like Kingdom of Heaven in that movie. I love that Forge.
Okay, so I'm going to take this as sort of a
And I'll take the questions.
a what if there. So I'd still like to know how you plan to move big things in a fuel scarcity situation.
I don't. I'm not moving anything big.
Okay, Christopher Phelps, but let's look at that because that's a decent question,
That's why all the settlements build up around rivers.
right? How did people do that in the good old days? Well,
See ya, Ann.
see, Ann, there's a couple of answers to that. One, they used oxen. You yoked oxen, and if you needed to move something really big, you just yoked more than one set of oxen together, and they pulled some big thing. You have to know something about pulleys. You have to know something about forces and mechanics and how something's going to fall.
Which is what four-wheelers, real four-wheelers, you know, those clubs that go out there and do the
Right,
things and
right,
winch and stuff,
exactly.
they understand this stuff.
Right. You know, I've got to hook this thing to that thing and then put a pulley in there, and then I've got to pull it this way, and
We're
so
gonna have to
on.
go there someday.
So these are the answers to your questions. I mean, it's just, to me, it seems almost obvious, but you are going to have to use ropes and pulleys and chains, and you're going to have draft animals if you're going to do something like that. And
Or you'll use your leftover gas on jack, you know, and you'll miser it. We're only
Right,
going to use jack
tractors-
for this. Like right now, I get on my
use
tractor and just
diesel, and they
drive
don't
wherever.
burn a lot of fuel. But my point was going to be draft animals
Barbara, not necessarily, but yes.
are huge and they can pull a lot. If you ever go to a farm event and they got the draft animals and the Clydesdales or the Shires or the I can't even think of the name of the blonde ones. A team of them is pulling weight. They can pull 30,000 pounds. So you have to know something about them. They have to be trained, and you have to have the equipment. You have to have the yokes and the harnesses and everything to
Amish.
attach them
Talk to the
to
Amish.
stuff. And the Amish and the Mennonites are people who do that stuff right now. And a lot of people up north who do logging and stuff still do oxen and know how to hook
And
them
our
up
buddy
and all that.
did some logging with his mules.
Right, and mules. That's the other thing.
the Ozarks.
Teams of animals. Yeah. There's still people around here who know that stuff, and that's how you would do it. Because mechanically, you know, you'd have those big gears, and you'd have to have some kind of handle and some way to turn that. He said rivers, mills. Mills were, you know, those huge rocks, but you needed the water with the wheel to turn the mill to grind grain. So that's
I wanna
my
talk
long
to
answer.
Tribal Lady.
Okay.
Tribal Lady said, PJ, would you bug out to another country? The short answer is yes, of course, if this country became untenable. Number two, I have the means to bug out, to move to many countries right now. We've talked about it. We constantly talk about it. We have several in our Rolodex. But after all my personal research and everything, this is the best country to be in. You have more freedom here than anywhere else in the world. And so there are places in this country where you can go. It's why we moved to Arkansas. Oh, OPSEC violation. Everybody knows anyway. It's why we moved here. It's like a third world country in a lot of
Shield Maiden.
ways.
Shalom.
Hey, Shield Maiden, in a lot of ways. But with the ability to get really good medical care. You know, yeah, forbid we hurt ourselves seriously, we can land a helicopter right here, a medevac, if we have to. And so the U.S. is the best place.
Brian Morlock. Shalom.
And you don't want to be the gringo somewhere else when things are bad. So that's what I think. D-Neck.
Now, Kyle Wingate said she moved out to the country, but they have no garden. What do they do right now?
Plant a garden.
Start planting.
Plant a garden.
If you can't dig your soil up, then do
You can
a
dig the
container,
soil.
do container garden or do raised beds. You
I
can.
want to talk to George Williams.
Yes, dear.
George Williams said, yeah, buckshot is moving back from Peru. Would this be Buckshot Hemming? Did he move to Peru? Who's Buckshot? I'd like to see a comment on that. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, you can even make your raised beds with stone. You can make them with wood. We have friends who've made garden beds out of plastic containers. I mean, you just need to have some kind of soil.
Ryan Ford, I get this question a lot. What about New Madrid? It will absolutely not affect us here.
Oh,
We're not near
okay.
the New Madrid. The New Madrid, Google it, look at the New Madrid fault zone, do your own research. It's going mostly north and east from the Boot Hill of Missouri.
From the Boot Hill,
It's not
of
going to
Missouri.
affect us here at all.
So you don't want to be north and east of that Boot Hill.
Darren says Americans
Yep.
have no idea what balkanization looks like. I've seen it with my own eyes. When we look at Sarajevo, if that happens here, we're in a world of hurt. Absolutely. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
seen it with my own eyes. We are in for a world of hurt, which
Yeah.
is why you don't want to be in the cities.
Right, and you don't want to be fighting other Americans.
You don't want to be fighting anybody. All these militia people, I got all my cool gear and I'm just waiting. You don't want to fight anybody. I'm telling you, you don't want to.
No, it's way better to get together and communal and support each other. It's way less drama. I made raised bed even out of. Gotta go wheat.
See you, E.E. Healy.
10 by sunshade and double wrapped it in foam and plastic. My first go to at a greenhouse. There you go. I mean, you just have to try it.
Gordon Tickle, we sliced tomatoes 40 days ago in containers and they are flowering already and set fruit soon. That's right, growing food. And I was impressed with your pantry. You showed it recently, I don't know, one of your pantries, whatever, in one of your videos, Gordon. And I liked how you had a lot of oil. I didn't see that much rice, though. I hope you have a lot of rice.
Wait, this thing.
George is about to open back up. How do we get Beto O'Pork to bug out to Venezuela?
Okay. What did Westholt say?
He's using 55-gallon drums as big pots. Retired last year and want to move to the Ozarks. What are your thoughts? Do it now. Raise beds out of old tires. Oklahoma has so many frack holes. Somewhere, yeah. Oklahoma keeps earthquaking because of the fracking.
We are gardening while we listen. Hallelujah. Propane furnace to my greenhouse when I'm adding a CO2 tank to increase production. We were just talking about you can build a rocket stove in your greenhouse as well and do the cob mass and
Yeah,
just
like a
warm
rocket
that
mass
thing
heater.
up. Yeah, like a rocket mass heater. And,
That's a weird sound.
you can use that to warm up a greenhouse too. And greenhouses are useful in areas where it's cold and you don't have as long a growing season.
Ozark is going to build hydroponics. He's going to start tomorrow. He told me he's going to start today.
Wow.
He's enjoying his day.
Yeah, he is. I'd love to hear Ozark Geek how that works out for you because there's just tons of advertisements online about hydroponic systems where people are using PVC pipe and some sort of drip thing, and then the water in there's got to have some food for the plants, and then you don't have to worry about bugs and so on
It's a
and so
military
on.
plane.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear how that
Casa.
goes. This thing keeps shutting the window on me.
That's because you can't touch it.
Um,
Lots of ex-military retired to the Ozarks. Let's address that, shall we? Because I just got an email. A lot of Navy and ex-intel people know to go to the Ozarks. That is all because of one guy.
mm-hmm.
What's his name? I need to go meet the guy. One guy said that, and a lot of people copied him. He's older than me.
Parroting.
And it's just simply not true.
Not true.
I was in very high levels of military intelligence. Believe me when I tell you, I really was.
He was.
I was Assistant Deputy Director for Intelligence.
Come on.
Nobody ever told me to move to the Ozarks.
Nope. No.
We didn't see things on the Ozarks.
Nope.
That's just the thing. The Ozarks is a great place to move, but that whole part about the Navy knows, you know who most of the retired people in the Ozarks are? Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to have a lot of Air Force bases and missile bases in this area. And so it's like their final tour, and they finish up and they retire here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not true.
John Moore. That's what.
John Moore, that is exactly who. And, I'm sure he's a great guy. I've watched a couple of his talks and stuff, but people take what he says and they run with it. And, he did that thing with the Navy map and the Edgar Casey map. And, yeah, I saw that when I was in. It's a potential thing. You look at every potential thing. But as far as this being the keyed-in place where all the military and intel people are going, that's just not true. It's just not true. Having said that, it's a great place. Blowing up South Central Georgia. Albany is blowing. Not good. Spreading it. All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Talked about the Ozark Plateau. Wants me to get the most calories per inch. Yes. Sister Kate and I have talked about that. How do we produce calories? Because to feed all the people, we have to produce calories. And kale is delicious. We had kale on our sandwiches today. And mustard greens are, mwah, and I love them. And they provide vital nutrients. But it ain't feeding the machine, right? And so you've got to figure out how to produce calories just to fuel the machine. And what we're kind of coming with is squash and fruit, like from trees. Apples, pears, plums.
Right. There's a lot of oomph to them. The other thing is even with the
See you, Ken.
the mustard and kale and things like that.
Liam, hello from the South Dakota Res.
They grow in the warm weather. They grow a certain time, but over winter they're not growing anymore. So you can dehydrate them. I have found that to be really useful to dehydrate the greens because you can throw them in salads and everything else, and you're still getting the nutrients from them. They don't make you feel full.
It gave me no nutrients. I
Right.
had no equal power.
They don't make you feel full, but it's good to have them as an additive to your food sources. Let's see.
Yep. Food, man. You guys got to get to where you don't have to depend on other people for your food. You really do. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to do it.
Potatoes are sweet potatoes are best calories per square foot.
And I have tried to
Winter
grow
squash.
potatoes in multiple places in this country, in multiple different ways. I'm horrible at growing potatoes. I can't grow. They're not a drop of Irish blood in my veins.
You oversee your pastures for your
Can't
goats.
do it.
Pastures.
We did pretty good with sweet potatoes last year. We're going to do them again this year, but we started with slips that we bought.
Right.
And we need to get to where we're producing our own.
Who is this Encarnacion?
Who is this Encarnacion? Let's eat some toast and stuff.
Right. Sister Kate looks Irish to me.
Oh, she's like 80% Irish.
There's a little bit in there somewhere.
A wee bit of the Irish in you.
Just a bit.
Hey, where's our buddy Norm?
I don't know if Norm, this is the right time for Norm to be here. You oversee your pastures for your goats. Yes. The thing about goats is they need to be rotated. So even if you only have an acre, you should not just have one set pasture and leave your goats in there all the time. Because what happens is over time, because they're eating where they're pooping, worms get involved, and then your goats can die from anemia from having worm infestation. So you want to rotate your pastures, your goats through your property.
You're calling me a goat? You're gonna move me around the property?
Yeah, because
Do you know how many people write to me, Pasture Joe?
Hey, there is Brother Tim. Shalom, shalom.
So,
Joe.
Tim Dunnigan and Gigi, I know sunchokes are supposed to be great. I know this, and I have tried in Kansas, and I have tried here. I've seen things. I've looked at them on the net. I'm like, these look like Jerusalem artichokes, and then when I dig them up in the fall, there are no tubers.
No tubers.
And so Gigi is squaring us away very
That's
soon,
right.
and we're going to
Yes.
plant them.
And we have other things. Like our property yields other things. We've done videos on what those things are.
We're not starving.
We're not
anymore.
going to starve. We're just not going to starve. And
See you, crazy Canuck.
see you, crazy Canuck. Eh?
Hey, you hoser.
Stop. But when you get out in the woods, if you have knowledge about plants, you can see what's growing there. If that makes sense to you. Some places have wild blueberries. I remember when we were
Let me
in
just
North
say,
Carolina.
we're not going to talk about that because OPSEC broke, but call me skeptical. Show me the blueberries and I'll believe.
No, I'm talking about when we lived near the Matamile Trail and we were out there just walking around because I
Butt
love
brag, North Kakalaki.
just love to walk around, and I saw wild blueberries and
Catfish? No. Leviticus 11, bro.
you can't eat the catfish. No, it's got fins and scales. But things like there's wild roses out in the woods.
Minnesota. Have you ever been to Minnesota? That's what someone said.
No, persimmon trees, there's plum trees, there's May apple, there's just all kinds of edible things, but we still don't recommend that you just go try to live in the forest. You could find a bit of forest that has absolutely no wild edibles in it at all. And what are you going to eat? Dirt? It doesn't taste good. So you should grow food or store food or
Sunchoke
whatever.
enola gay is a Jerusalem artichoke. Google it. It looks like a little sunflower. It grows tubers. You can roast them and eat them much like potatoes. Lots of starch. The Indians would live on them.
look and see. People are wild blackberries. Yeah, I mean blackberries are really easy to see, and they grow all over the United States. Wild grapes grow all over the place.
We have this is all wild blackberries right there. We didn't
Right.
plant one of those. We have a
Yep.
row about, 50 yards long of wild
And
blackberries.
the wild blackberries that grow on Shofar Mountain are everywhere. You just clear ground and they're going to come up. Wisconsin has
Jericho,
cheese
good
trees.
stuff. Yeah, because I love a bar that stays open no matter what. And
Where-
their defense at the bridge made me cringe. But other than that, there was some goodness
Where are
in
they
there.
getting all this liquor in their
And
bar?
electricity and
Right.
it was like
Electricity
it was
never
like
ran out.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Black raspberry. I want a pawpaw tree. Shalom Shavua Tov. Shalom ve Yeshua Dov.
Something Tove.
Something good. Something day. Right?
Yeah,
is day.
Tove is day.
Yeah, pleasant day or something. We are planting more fruit trees this year. Now, we know from experience you can make alcoholic drinks from things that are sweet.
You need sugar though.
You gotta have sugar. of
Sugar
some
store
kind
is
of
really
source.
easy and it's fairly cheap. It was when the stores were open. I don't know if it's cheap now, but you can buy hundreds of pounds of sugar.
Pawpaw trees grow in low areas.
Yep,
They
near
like
water.
to be under other trees and they like to be near water.
We've tried to grow pawpaws twice, have not yet been successful.
That's not true. I transplanted 2 baby
Like I
pawpaws
said,
back there.
show me a pawpaw and then I'll say.
Well,
we're
it's going to be
successful.
years before they grow pawpaws.
Hmm.
Grow cane, sugar cane, and grapes. Exactly. Grapes have been around since biblical times, and I've done a video on it. And they were used to sweeten things for the longest time, and raisins. I mean, when I say longest time, like the last 2, 3, 4, 5,000
good job.
years. So grapes are a thing. Dry them, make raisins, and you can use that to sweeten stuff, and also to make wine with. Obviously, very biblical.
We've tried to grow sorghum. We haven't been successful yet.
You actually need a field area to do sorghum, and we have a lot of rocks.
Boo-hoo. Do you ignore all your new subscribers?
None ya biz.
I don't know.
Yeast is floating around everywhere you can capture it. It's
You don't
not
have to yell,
hard.
bro.
Do you ignore all your new subscribers? El bujo. Bujo.
El bujo. What
But
does
it's
el
got
bujo mean?
And it has an umlaut. Why does it have an umlaut? Bujo.
I don't know. It's not an umlaut. It's a little.
It's a little thing.
I don't know.
No, we don't.
Oh, my favorite character. Who was your favorite character in Jericho? What was that guy's name that I liked? The black guy. He was so cool. I like that guy. He
What
was my
distance
favorite
from a
character.
population do you consider coming out of her, my people?
You got to get out in the rural areas. If they will not deliver a pizza to your house, you're good.
You're far enough out. Okay. I really wonder why you asked that
See
question.
a shield
though.
maiden? I don't know. People, these snowflakes, man.
I got a dip. Thank you.
I got a dip. All right,
The
man.
grapes come with the Rune East. It's like they were meant to be. Yeah. Lenny James is the actor you like. Good for gardening.
I like this character.
Is all the Ozarks earth fertile?
Our earth was rocks. We planted our first row of peas with my grandfather's pickaxe from Österreich.
Yeah, Michael. So it's not so much that the earth is fertile, it's just the temperature generally. It's pretty. It's not super crowded. It's west of the Mississippi. There's
Robert Hawkins.
other,
What a cool dude.
reasons for us recommending the Ozarks. Not so much that the soil is super fertile. We had no soil. Shalom from New Mexico. Shibusuru. Shalom. Oh, and Lit Liam.
Well, El Bujo, you can get all butthurt if you want, but my comments go through here like 1,000 miles a minute, and you are not that special, bro. You're irritating the hell out of me, and I'm about to ban you. So slow your roll, man.
Lit Liam, latest
There's
viewing-
lots of people I don't answer because I don't see them or we're talking. Jeez, you little special snowflake.
Latest viewing of Red Dawn had me scared. Spooked.
Madam Isle Trail.
Hang on. So, Lit Liam, you said you were on a res in the South
Dakota, right?
Dakota? Is that right? Which res?
See you, Gordon. Love you, brother. Be safe. Stay cool. I missed it. It's okay.
You can
I can
look
look
later.
at it later.
Although this thing's only got 16% power.
That's okay. I can charge it.
What were the second and third choices when you two were looking around at places to homestead? Love to know.
Okay, so I'll tell you that story. We started out pre-internet. We decided we wanted to retire from the military, live in a rural area, and we were about 15 years from retiring when we decided this. So we started looking, and we linked up with United Country Realty, and
Yeah.
they used to send us a catalog like every month or so. And it was like classified ads,
Yep.
organized by state and
Yeah.
then by office, which was roughly by county.
Yep.
And at the time, back then, we wanted 20 acres or more. We wanted to spend $40,000 or less
Shalom,
on our
Pharma.
property. And so we started looking all over the country. And we quickly ruled out everything east of the Mississippi. One, it was expensive. We couldn't afford it. Two, there were too many people, too many rules, too many. We looked at a place in Minnesota, 200 acres. It was within our budget, but man, the winters there are brutal, and we knew we would get old someday and didn't want to live through a brutal winter. Ruled out the desert Southwest
Hey, George.
because of the water lack thereof. And we looked at a couple pieces of property in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And then one day I came home from work, flipped on CNN, cracked a beer, and I'm flipping through the catalog on the coffee table. And it said 62 acres, deer, bear, turkey. And it was like, $35,000 or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
where is this? And it was in Arkansas. And we're like, Arkansas? What's in Arkansas? Where is that? I know. And it doesn't matter. And so that started our journey. And we came and we looked at property. We looked at that 62 acre piece. And I said, all right, I'll buy it. And then the guy said, well, let me show you another piece in case this doesn't work out. I did. And that's how we ended up here.
Yeah. So, and just the whole Ozarks, 4-state, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, a little bit of northeast Texas, all very similar in look and stuff. Family Wemos says all the meat processing plants in their part of the country are being shut down due to the COVID. Keep this.
So we love Oregon too. I hate the politics, and I've never lived there because of the politics. And it started back in the late 80s, early 90s with the spotted owl and the Portlandites against the loggers.
Bye, Shannon.
And the ranchers who made Oregon what it is. And we looked at property in Oregon and then decided, nope, not going to live here. Have good people in Oregon.
We're looking in the piney woods of northeast Texas. People calm down.
Yeah, don't read that one.
Yeah. Starve us out ultimately.
Oh, I know
have the
Eastern
power.
Oregon is a different world. I've been all over out there. We almost bought property in Bonanza.
Most of the large meat processing places shutting down are owned by China. Interesting.
Yeah.
You'll
Just
be
bought Total
blessed.
Resistance, just waiting for it to arrive. You'll like it. It's a great
Oh
book.
man, you have a good read in front of you with that book. That thing is amazing.
If you live in the UK, do you know something fascinating to study if you haven't already is the auxiliary underground bases that they built during World War II, and they trained these people on the sly to defend Britain in case of a Nazi invasion, and they built these little dugouts and stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Man, that's a fascinating read.
And
that
it's
whole
a smart
thing.
decision by a small state because England ain't very large. Oh, why do you say east of Mississippi is not a good idea to live
Because
there?
there's too many people, therefore there's too many rules, there's too much control, and prices are too high.
There you go, Spaz Mama in a nutshell. Ooh,
Save a
Nunya
logger, eat
Biz.
an owl.
Nunya
Yeah.
Biz. I just got that book too. I want to know what you think about that book, Nunya Biz.
Yeah, you read it.
I read it and I was like, this is the bomb diggity.
The bomb diggity.
And I'm just a housewife, and I thought it was really good.
You're just a simple housewife. That's
That's
all
right.
you are. You don't know nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Any other? What?
I would love to go to Maine. Somebody said far northern New Hampshire is good, but man,
Mm-hmm.
I can't figure out how to get there without going through New York. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, New Hampshire's got. I think one of our kids was looking at New Hampshire and just really digged what she saw. She didn't end up going there, but she liked it. Small nuke shelters. I'm listening.
I would like to build us a nuke shelter.
We don't have enough stuff that we need to build
I
already.
know.
Late to the party, picking up 5 La Mancha does and a ewe. A ewe. Okay. The La Mancha are the ones with no ears, right? I think. They're supposed to be good milkers, though, and I think that's fantastic. Where are you going to keep them, Mrs. Hermit Hill?
It's not about going through New York and taking a bath. It's like when we roll from here, we roll heavy, bro. And New York would not appreciate what we had in our vehicle. Just
Have
saying.
enough food to last 3 months? Well, that's a start. but building on it every week, that's very smart. Tambora Lily Crafts.
White guy on a res isn't ideal, but it's reality. Pine Ridge just banished a mixed family for bringing the Kung Flu here. Strange times. Hey, I'm a nationalist, man. I think the American Indians on the res, that's their own nation in many ways.
Right?
And I'm a big on my house, my rules. Their house, their rules. Let them rule, man.
That's
And
right.
I'm also the guy that always tells you, don't be the gringo. You don't want to be somewhere where you're the other.
Do a video on cooking regularly everyday foods over an open fire.
We've done those, haven't we?
Yeah, I think you just need to look through the channel, and there's probably some videos on that. But here's a clue. Here's a clue for you, person who doesn't get to cook over an open fire very often. It's still heat. So if you turn your stove on to a certain temperature, you're doing the same thing with your fire. It's just a matter of, do you want it to boil or not? If you want it to boil, put more wood. It's not that hard. You can do it.
Yes, we make maple syrup. We did it for the first time this year.
And it was really,
It was
really
so good.
good.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. We're thinking about starting the Shofar Mountain Maple Syrup Company, SMMS,
To make maple syrup to sell.
and sell it.
But that's kind of a, we'll see what happens in the fall. But yeah, it was really, really good.
The state is Californicated, George.
Never done it, always wanted to. Here's another little thing, and I know I said it. I know I said it when we did videos on this before. Not just maple trees give sap.
But we
Lots
haven't
of
tapped
trees give
anything but
sap.
maple trees.
Right, but lots of trees give sap. Apple trees, birch trees, oak trees. Just do a quick, Google search on trees that are in your area to find out.
I'll
if you
tell
can
you,
get
we
sap out of them.
we had a sister come out here, and we showed her a part of our property. She's like, "Wow, we should tap these trees." She used to tap them by, what, elderberry stems or something?
Yeah, she made her own taps.
Because she had no money as a child, and so I'm like, "Well, if you want to do the work, I'll front the money." And I bought a $90 starter kit. It was like 10 or 12 taps and bags. They do it in bags now. It doesn't go into little containers. It goes in like IV bags. And it was about $90. And she went out there. Did you go out there with her and tap the trees?
Yeah, we went out there and tapped them.
Drill and tap and all that stuff. And then they made all the syrup. It was awesome.
Here's another clue. The tap's got to be pointing down a little bit. So it trips out and down. If you put it in straight or pointing up, it's not going to come out.
There you go.
She drilled the holes in at a bit of an angle.
Green Mountain Homestead said they did syrup. Was it not the best syrup you ever had in your whole entire life? Was for us.
You have to boil a ton to make the syrup, though. It's like a 40-to-1 ratio if you have inferior trees. But when you have really cool Shofar Mountain trees, it was more like 20-to-1. Or some of it was like 12-to-1.
We got so much sap.
So it just depends. Am I prepper? It depends on a lot
I don't
of
recommend
variables.
walkie-talkies, and here's why. OPSEC, bro, I haven't used that many, and I'm not going to recommend the ones I use. So
We have muscadines everywhere, and I love them. Muscadines are great, and they're usually growing without you having to plant them. Come on, just prune them back, and you get free grapes. Get out of here.
I think beekeeping is worth it if you can crack the curve, which we have not yet.
If you stick with it, and it would be worth your while if you wanted to do bees to get in with your local beekeeping organization. Association or state beekeepers or whatever, because they have the knowledge and they love helping people, and bee honey is amazing when you get it yourself. It
And
is
so-
so good.
Check it out. This stuff like tapping maple trees or other to make syrup, raising bees, growing a garden, foraging wild edibles. No matter where you live, you can do this.
Sure.
You just have to decide that's what you want to do.
Shane and Moore said we did syrup for the first time this year. Ended up getting about 120 gallons of sap and over 3 gallons of syrup from 6 taps. So
And now
good.
you know why real syrup is so expensive, right?
Yeah, but here's another tip. The bigger the tree, the more chance you're going to get a lot of syrup from it, because it's been doing it for years and it's got to feed its whole tree, so it's going to pump some sap. So you don't
Pump
wanna,
that sap, baby.
Oh baby, you don't want to have just like one tree. You want to have several large trees for you to try getting sap from. And also the temperatures are a key ingredient. If the temperature at night is about 30 and it's about 50 during the day, the
Welcome,
sap
feral
flows
believer.
better. Okay, back to your comments.
You know, I try every day on Patreon to give you your money's worth that you paid for the month. I really do. Ask Sister Kate. I treat it like a
it's
job.
true. He is very serious.
And so I saw this question before, Kyle. What's the status of the U.S. in 60 to 90 days? I don't know. I tell people at any given time within 72 hours, we could all be living in a different world. That does not mean that 3 days from now we're going to be living in a different world. We're living in interesting times.
And this oil crash really is something to keep your eye on. It is very important to our economy.
Well,
Oh,
thank you. I heard thunder, I think.
yeah, me too.
We have a bright blue sky, and I just heard thunder.
Yeah.
Whoever was saying it was out there in Tulsa.
Yeah, it's around. Aw, Lone Star Living? That's really nice. Do you recommend live trapping rabbits to breed them for meat or just hunting them?
If
for
you want to
those
breed
saying
rabbits for
rabbit?
meat, and we don't eat rabbits anymore personally, but if you
Unclean.
want to breed rabbits for meat, the best thing is just to go buy some domestic rabbits, get
Yep.
2 does and a buck,
Yep.
and you're in business.
Yeah, the problem with trying to capture rabbits and then breed them is live or wild rabbit. So you can't count on a wild rabbit to be your breeder. You need like a New Zealand or a California,
Yep.
the breeds that are really big and are going to have a
Furious
lot of meat for
Mongoose.
food. Hey, Furious Mongoose, shalom.
Boy, people are starting to talk. It's going fast.
Is it?
That one guy got mad and left. Good.
Westhold Forge, you can order them or you can make them. She made them out of elderberry stem, but I mean, it just look
We
at her
bought
straw.
like 10 or 12 with the bags and all the stuff for $90, and actually with the amount of syrup we got from that, I think it was well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, but you can make it. You can do it yourself if you want to. If you have buckets and all that, so it's totally up to you. Aw, oh sweet.
Bless you, JFT.
Not for meat, but I plan to breed them as a revenue stream and for their poo in the garden. Exactly.
Oh, you
Christopher
can
Phelps.
put their poop right on your garden.
It's
not
very
like
good for the
chicken.
garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all you got to do is find them somewhere and start, like he said, your breeding program. But catching them wild is not the answer. They're gonna die. They don't do well caged up.
Survive Plus and Bushcraft. Are you in Brazil or are you here?
Miss you too, Furious Mongoose. Have we
No,
tried breeding
we
quail?
haven't, but we thought about it and we'd kind of like to do it. And my plan is breed quail and let them go. But I really need to learn how to coyote hunt and get some brothers out here and wipe out the coyotes. We have so many coyotes here. I don't think the quail
Well-
would live. There were some quail. There's a low hawk right there.
The quail, I think quail breeding he's talking about is kind of like the same as a rabbit operation. You just have the quail.
Pigeons. We'd like to do pigeons.
Right, just have the quail in the cages and then raise them up to a certain age and butcher them. But the problem is, it's not a self-generating system. The domesticated quail do not lay on eggs and grow more quail. So, whoa, hey now,
Just keep doing what you're doing.
huh?
Just keep talking.
Well, I don't want
You're
to
fine.
have a big loud noise in the background. The domestic quail, what I was trying to say is they don't lay eggs and hatch more quail. So you have to have an incubator or something to get your basic quail starting going on. And then if you get the eggs and you hatch them in the incubator, yeah, that'll work. But, running an incubator off of solar is going to be kind of difficult. So that's my problem with the quail idea. But, I mean, as far as the meat, sure, why not?
And I think you can sell quail eggs to high-end restaurants.
I raised quail on my apartment patio several years ago. Very easy. Have you asked the dogs if they are kosher? Dogs aren't kosher, so you don't have to worry about it. I've heard pigeons are similar to quail, yep, and they're just a bit bigger.
We thought about doing a pigeon, whatever they call the pigeon house too.
Okay, well, this thing's down to 10%
Get dog.
battery. call me Joe and I can get you on the yotes with the predator calls, etc. Goat manure for the garden, question mark. I'm pretty sure goat manure has to be composted first. I don't think you take goat manure and put it right on the
And
garden.
the thing about goats is they're kind of like deer. They poop here, they poop there, they poop here, they poop there. Rabbits have a spot just like horses, and they keep going in the same spot.
And goat poop is kind of like rabbit poop. It's very small pellets, so it's not like you can just like shovel
Scoop
it
it
up
up,
with a
right.
shovel. Now, there are people who keep goats now in raised shelters with slats as the bottom, and so the goat poop all falls down through the slats in one location. That way you could shovel it, but I have not done that. I don't know if Gordon's still on here, and I don't know if Gordon does that. Hang on. Good thing that wasn't noisy. You're welcome. Feeding dogs non-kosher meat. So, dogs are not kosher either. And kosher is a rabbinical thing. It's not a biblical thing. The word kosher is nowhere in the Bible. It's either unclean or clean. And,
in the Bible.
huh?
Kosher's in the Bible, but the concept as it's applied today is.
So anyway, dogs are unclean. So you would be feeding an unclean meat to an unclean animal. Okay. Quail, pigeons, and doves are cousins in the dove family. Eat up. Sure.
You can kill doves with a pellet gun.
No, Sergeant James. No, there was just a lot of noise. Stick with chickens. Yeah, chickens are pretty easy as long as you get a breed that, again, will self-propagate, will lay eggs and then hatch them out so you can have chickens later, because they only live about 5 years.
I feel kind of like those guys in Secondhand Lions.
Would you consider doing a Patreon discussion on the economy since this oil business took place?
I'm not an economic advisor. I'm really not, and so I don't on Patreon or anywhere else for that matter try to talk about things I'm not well versed in. I'm just saying it bears watching, and then I let the smart people
Make the comments on the
Right.
economy.
What is a good guard goose breed?
All of them.
Toulouse.
They're all noisy and they can all be quite aggressive. I think African geese are a pretty good breed. But I don't know all the goose breeds either. I just think they're kind of
That's
cool.
why I said Toulouse. It's the only one I
Right.
know.
Toulouse and African are the only ones we know. But I think they're kind of cool. And my son's goose, they raised her from a gosling last year, and she just hatched out 3 goslings this year. So they're super excited, and I think they have the African ones. Hey, Sugar Creek Homestead of Tennessee. Secondhand Lions is a fun movie. Yes, it is. It's a really good movie. I enjoyed that.
Love that movie. I
Westhold.
posted a clip from it on Patreon the
Yeah,
other day.
Westhold Ford said something in it. It went too fast. I didn't get to see it. My daughters used to raise doves and fancy pigeons when they were young, but they only raised 2 eggs at a time. Yeah.
We have another moderator on board.
I don't know.
Okay.
Got 2 ponds and I need an early.
So the
warning
problem
system.
with geese is, man, they poop everywhere. I mean, everywhere. It's disgusting. And
But if they're down by the ponds, it shouldn't
if
be
you
a
don't
problem.
care, then you don't care. But oh my gosh, they're a mess. And also, guinea hens make pretty good alert birds.
They do. Guinea hens are. You've seen them in all our videos. They just yeah, and they taste really good. Let's see. This is now only 9%.
That's okay. I got this one.
Okay.
How do I get my chickens to not lay eggs on the Sabbath? You don't. You just don't collect them on the Sabbath. Wait till Sunday. Geese are aggressive. I can't stand guineas. They alert to the wind. I've read guinea fowl eggs are very high in protein.
They
I
are.
know what? They're very hard to break.
They are. Now, I did a study on it. I have a video on it. They are high in protein and nutrients. Yeah.
It gave me no nutrients.
They're more nutritious than a chicken egg. Go through them like crap like a goose.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Geese don't poop, they shoot. Like diarrhea through a needle. No? What was that saying we heard the other day?
Do you know, Nunya Biz, we got these rocking chairs from the Bear, Independent.
Yes.
Bear Independent. He gave them to us along with this table. He and Squid,
Yep.
they produced them in their shop, which burned down. And Glenn Beck has one of these rocking chairs in his office.
That's right.
That's a true story.
Chasing Life said she'd be a moderator. I'd like to let her, but I've got to find that comment, which is going to be way, way down
Yeah,
here.
you should do that.
I've got to do it while we're on, though. You can't do it if you're
Yeah.
not on. There she is, Chasing Life. Okay, you are now a moderator. La la.
Where's her wrench? I want to see her wrench. Say something, Chasing
Say
Life.
something,
I wanna
Chasing
see your
Life. We
wrench.
should be able to see your wrench. You should be blessed with the powers.
There she is. Yay!
Yay! All right.
We have enough moderators for now.
Thank you for offering. Okay, I'm gonna put this down.
Okay, I got it.
No.
The power! Lone Star Living said the power.
That's right. Feel the power and behave, because she's gonna get you. All right.
We have a couple mods.
Yeah, but Wee Tree Bonsai's not here tonight.
Where's Weetree?
I don't know.
Tell Weetree we're going to dock her pay.
Well, we never let her know we're doing live
We're
streams.
going to cut it in half. Chasing Life, we're going to double your pay and cut Weetree Bonsais in half. How about that? All right, so we're starting to stall. What are your questions?
That's right.
What are your questions?
What are your
What do you think? You
questions?
have us here. We're
That's
sitting
right.
on our porch. We are relaxed.
What do you think the low oil prices are going to mean for America?
I think our economy is going to take a hit. That's how we started this. How do you pay someone $37 to take
your
barrel of oil?
Right?
I'm not
That's the
trying-
question.
Right?
Who's going to want it? And who's got money to buy up all that cheap oil? Somebody swoop in and just take it all.
I don't care. I said today in my video, I'm getting so disgusted with this technology. I'm like a Luddite. I'm trying to upload that video onto Patreon and bring the EMP. I don't care.
Selling metal boils as fuel storage while it's cheap. That's actually a really good idea.
All right, if you could go back in time and change one thing in the development of your homestead, what is that one thing?
I know what mine is.
Well, go, girl.
Get that water. Get the water situation all sorted out so that there's a water supply where we need it. And not keep it in the medieval, get it with a bucket kind of
How
situation.
do you talk to the people about how we do water here on Shofar Mountain?
Our drinking water comes from our well.
How far away is our well from this porch?
Are you sure you want me to say that?
You don't have to say where it is. You can say how far away it is.
Ooh. It's what, a quarter mile?
It's about a half mile.
Half mile away. That we used to pump by hand. And it keeps your arms in good shape, keeps you strong.
What kind of pump did you use? Bison? Go on.
Bison pump. I was going to say buffalo pump. But it's time consuming. And it, eats into your day when you have to do that. We still get our drinking water that way. And then our...
Wait, how did our drinking water well pumping situation get fixed?
Brother Tim set
PNW Viking.
set us up with a solar system, which works way better and is a lot
And
faster.
so now instead of pumping and getting buff, what do?
I go up there and I flip a switch and it's pumped up out, and then I still have to carry it all, and I still have to
And what do you
load
put
it
the
and
water in?
unload it. I put it in jugs, meant to last for a while. Milk jugs don't work as well because they'll break down over time. And then our cleaning water is rain catchment, which works okay, but it would be better if
If we did a real system like Ozark Geek did.
and if it came into the different buildings where it needed
And
to
Jay
be
John
used.
squared us away for that.
He gave us the pump, right? At least
He gave us a lot of things to do it. We just
Okay.
need to do it.
set it up. Yes, there's the old doing it thing, because conceptualizing is one part, designing is one part, purchasing is one part, having it all there is good, and then another part is putting it all together. So it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. You guys have the grapple attachment for your Kubota.
No, we have a box blade and a lawnmower brush hog
He
thing.
says he has one and he loves it. We live next to the Great Dismal Swamp.
The
Our
water has tannin in it.
perfectly fine, but it looks like pee. Yeah, tannin is one of those things that you get when leaves fall in water, and it's kind of acidic. But
You have
yeah.
faith in us to make it through. No, I don't have faith in most people to make it through. And Moonlight, I don't know you. Can you make it through? Yes, one can make it through, but most people are not going to make it.
Fluffy puff, but it's just an educated guess. The U.S. empire can't last. Rome fell, and then it's saying Social Security is in the crapper.
Water catchment. So our water comes out of our horrible gutter that I need to redo, and it flows down a pipe over there into an ICB tow and a big tub that we actually bought to do water birthing. And we scoop it out of there with a bucket, and that's what we use to wash dishes, clothes, and bodies.
And we heat it up over a
Propane.
fuel source, propane or wood,
Wood
or
heater.
whatever. That's how we get it. But it would be, less trouble to have the propane on demand.
Pallet forks, yes, I'm thinking about buying the kind of pallet forks I can put onto my front end loader and just screw on when money comes around. How many wells, gallons per minute per person do you have? We're not going to talk about that because that's OPSEC, bro. But we have good wells.
I think just for if you're going to have a well drilled, what your minimum is, you want to have, I think, 8 gallons a minute to be able to do like a regular water pressure.
Yes, we could get a
if that
500 gallon propane tank. It's on the list.
Engineer 775.
Yeah, he's got lots of videos on lots of things.
Lots of videos. Build a platform for a rain barrel. Gravity feed into the house.
Yeah, that's an option.
That is a good
We
idea.
also have a solar pump,
Yeah.
new in the box.
So, and we have the kind of property where that would actually work, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
We've got enough fall there.
Ooh, we just got a lot of questions. What do you think about wind power in that area? Actually, where we are on Shofar Mountain, wind power is not so good.
But other people
Very
have
close
talked
to
about
us,
it.
very good.
Yeah.
I got my 300 watt panels.
From Alt East Store.
Check the local co-op. Price of propane, save you a bundle. Do you tan hides for clothes at all? No, we don't have time for that. I know how to tan. Yes.
We have done that.
We've done it with ashes and stuff like that, but no, we don't now. If you had only produce low flow, would you use a cistern to store then pump? Sure, why not?
Yeah, that would be a good alternative if that was your only water source, Kyle. Bison Pump or a deep
Bison
water?
Pump has really good customer service. That's why I went with them. There's only 2 hand pumps that go deep. Bison Pump and Simple Pump. And when it was time for me to... Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
I may be putting out false info.
I don't know. Maybe Bison is not the pump. I think we have a simple pump, right?
Yes, and I just said that on a couple Patreon videos. I need to go back and correct that. Here's the deal. There's 2 pumps that go deep, hand pumps. Bison Pump and Simple Pump. You're absolutely right. And I contacted them both when I needed to put a pump in. And Bison Pump were a pain in the neck to deal with. And Simple Pump were cool. So I went with Simple Pump. Simple Pump.
Simple Pump.
They were a lot easier to work with. Right?
Whoa. Hey now.
Hold this. I'll get my glasses. Who can see without his glasses? Who can hear the
Can
word
you
if we
make
don't have a pastor to
yogurt out
preach
of
it?
goat milk?
Yes.
Absolutely, am I prepper? You can make anything out of goat milk that you can make with cow milk.
Hamburgers,
Raw.
lettuce.
You don't make it with cow milk, and you know that's true, Pastor. You need a certain culture for yogurt, which is in plain yogurt, that says on a lot of cultures, that's all you need to make yogurt out of any milk.
I don't know enough about wolfhounds at all. I used to be a wolfhound, but I don't know enough about wolfhounds. Sorry.
I'd love to try tanning hides, small taxidermy this year, maybe. Armstrong pumps. Thanks for info on customer service. You're welcome. Lumber.
Have y'all made lumber yet? No, I got the mill. I set it up, and
There's even a log on it.
there's even a log on it, ready to go.
Ready to go.
And the guy who sold it to me will come help me anytime I want.
Anytime.
Here's the deal. He was selling it right then for a friend's price, so I bought it. We're not ready to use it yet. We have other things to do. Like right now, get a robust garden in.
Excuse me. First visit to live, very cool. Been a Patreon for a couple months. Best dollar bargain.
Thanks, Arthur.
Thanks,
Tell
Arthur.
your friends.
Yeah, tell El Bujo.
Chest rig or Minuteman bag if you could have only one. All right, so Miguel, here's the deal, man. It depends. I use them both. I use my chest rig, and by chest rig, I assume you're talking about the bag I use, which I use a Hill People gear, Mountain People gear. Rig. I throw that on when I'm just wearing like sweatpants and I don't have pockets or a belt or something on. I use it a lot, but when I take a walk with my rifle, I take my Minuteman bag, and that holds 3 magazines, a bottle of water, and a Bear IFAK. It's up to you. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Get both. Dairy apocalypse is coming right after the meat apocalypse. We're good on both. Tora question: is cooking meat, beef, goat, and homemade butter considered? No, it's not, Christopher. Don't worry about it. Now retired Coasty. Yeah. Do you freeze meats and such? Yes, we do. You try a simple pump, choose a longer handle. We did. My well driller wanted me to get a Bison. I'm feeling that's because he's most familiar. Probably. They both go deep, and Bison were just kind of nasty to me, so I went with simple pump, and we're happy with it. Skateboard tape on your gun. I took the idea and put sandpaper instead. Works great if my hands are wet. Dun dun dun. Absolutely. Yes, you. I think Wrangle Star. I don't watch him anymore. How far do y'all travel to buy livestock? We've traveled. How far did you go to get those ducks?
The ducks were about 2 hours away, and I've gone as far as 4 hours away, but I didn't buy the goats that I got 4 hours away. Someone gave me 4 goats, so I drove the 4 hours to go get them.
I don't know what chayotes are.
Making cheese using a dried goat stomach for the rennet. Okay, so Westhold Forge, it's usually the young of the animal that you get the rennet from, not the actual grown-up animal. And you may want to also look into some of the rennet options that are vegan, because things like thistle heads are supposed to make goat, or what am I trying to say? Will make milk separate. And I've also had milk separate without having any rennet in it at all. I just sat it on the counter and it separated. So there's more than one way to skin that cat.
Sugar Creek Homestead of Tennessee. All this happened weeks after moving to new homestead, raw land. I'm struggling. Work is wearing me out. Oh yeah, Sugar Creek. You are going to learn the sleep of the righteous. I'm telling you, the kind of work you do on a homestead, she's telling you, is totally different from your previous life. You work hard from sunup till sundown. You go to sleep, and it's like.
Yep. So one thing, Sugar Creek Homestead of Tennessee, I will let you know. If you are like a lady only trying to do the homesteading things, you have to scale down what you're doing to your own strength. You cannot try to do homesteading like a 6'6" man who weighs 250 pounds.
I try to do that, and then I usually realize I'm not that guy anymore.
And you will injure yourself. So what you want to do is, if you're, let's just say you're going to move hay. Let's just use that as an example. I have no idea what it is you're struggling with right now. But when I have to move bales of hay, if I am not feeling like I can pick the whole bale up, if it's like a 40 or 60 pound bale, I will cut it and then I will put it into bags and carry the bags. So
Look at
I'll-
my almost 60-year-old wife talking about how she moves 60-pound bales. That's right.
So I cut them down to make them 20 or 30 pounds, and then I move that. I don't try to pick up a whole 40 to 60 pound bale of hay anymore, because you can injure yourself if you try to do things that require your muscle and you are not capable of doing it. You will pull, strain, wrench,
And
whatever.
that sets you back.
And it sets you back. So you've got to. You are going to
How
work
old are
hard. Almost 60. We're 57.
We're almost 58 very soon.
Yeah, we're at 57. So, my whole thing is, even if you're a dude and you're a single dude and you're out there doing this stuff, work to your capacity, but do not overwork it, because you don't want to get injured, because it sets you back. So cut things into smaller pieces. You know, eat the elephant one
Buy
bite
a
at a
tractor.
time. Get mechanical stuff that helps. There's, pole pounders and pole pullers and tractors and,
Mechanical advantage is what you're talking about.
right, a mechanical advantage. Instead of nailing every nail, get a nail gun, get a drill, what a
Rat
cordless.
Fink is out there going, happy 420, man.
I don't know what that means.
It's okay, I do.
But cordless drills, things like that. So
No,
if you're
Spaz
screwing
Mama,
on
shovel
screw-
work is the best. It's like you don't have to pay for a gym.
Yeah, shovel
Go
work.
dig a hole.
She's saying shovel work is the worst. You got to be careful when you're doing shovel.
You don't have to
work.
take huge bites with your shovel. You can
Right.
take little bites with the shovel.
Right. Just scale it down to what you're capable of doing, and I will let you know. Get that homie, honey. Go get the homie.
I'll get the homie.
Get the homie. Brother Tim recommended a Korean type hand tool for gardening,
This is your homie because I put oil on it.
and this is what they look like. It looks like a little teeny plow
I liked
blade,
it so much, I got one.
right? It's really sharp on the one end, and it's got a flat blade, and then it's got this like angle right here and a hook. This makes weeding and digging in dirt, even not great dirt, bad dirt, it makes it a lot easier just by the mechanics of it, because doing this is better than the way the little shovels that Americans use works. It's just really amazing, and it helps. So things like
Jeez.
this, what'd he say?
Just keep going.
Okay.
That's funny.
It helps, and there's no shame in you having things that help. We also bought from a store nearby here a thing called a PV.
Amazon, Spaz Mama.
Yeah, they're
Homie, H-O-M-I.
HOMI. We bought a thing called a PV, which is for moving logs, because obviously I cannot move a log. But with the PV, there's some leverage in it, and it helps you move logs. So, do yourself a favor, Sugar Creek of Tennessee. Scale this stuff. Scale it. And
No, I don't want
don't
to shut
drive
down.
yourself, right? Do not drive yourself to do things you're going to injure yourself doing. Do it at a rate at which you are capable.
So my comments are off on this phone. I can no longer see what you're saying.
Yep, I can't see what you're saying either, because this thing is so
Who's
far
our new
back.
moderator?
Who's our new moderator? Chasing Life. Chasing Life is the new moderator.
Slam anybody who's an idiot.
There we go. Jay Tom says it's a log roller. Yeah.
Yes.
Do y'all use a gas log splitter? Yes,
Yes.
we do. Do we have
22-ton hydraulic log splitter.
Do we have the capability to split logs? Do we know how? Do we have the tools to do it? Yes, we
What do you know about splitting logs?
I have one of my first videos was me showing how to split a log.
Sister Kate has her own splitting maul. It's a 6-pounder. I have an 8-pounder.
We have
and
the wedges.
she has her own sledgehammer. It's a 6-pounder. I have an 8-pounder. And we have a whole series of wedges and log grenades and
All sorts of things to split it with. So have the knowledge on how to do it if you don't have the electronic one or the
right, or when
gas
you run out of
powered
gas
one.
or whatever.
Have that knowledge, but if you can save yourself some trouble, save yourself some trouble. Don't get injured. It's important on a homestead. All right, what else? I wanted to get extra lanterns, so I became a dealer for Dietz Lanterns. This is a way to save money. Become a dealer if you can.
You know, I tried to become a dealer for
Composting toilet.
composting toilets. Contacted the company and everything.
The expensive ones,
And
the
it's called-
$1,000 ones.
Yeah, it's like $880 at the time. Nature's Head, I think it was called, and they have a really good advertising campaign. And it sucks, their dealership program. I mean, it's like you have to buy 8 of them, and you only get this much break on the price, and you have to sell them for their designated price. And it's like, all right, forget it. So we didn't do it.
No, but Olight's been very good to him
Olight's
with the
been good to us,
flashlights.
yeah.
So, look into it. Look into it for yourself. Lug Blue, because I'm thrifty and it works.
Oh yeah, that's what we use.
And they're comfy too.
Yeah,
Which kind of toilet do y'all use?
we're not going to talk about that though. 'Cause,
No, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's private information, okay?
Okay, you hoser.
Look, it's getting late. I gotta go put my ducks up.
You gotta make me some dinner, woman.
We need to eat too. Woo! Check out a Grants Ford Brook splitting mall.
No, I bought the Fisker splitting mall. It's awesome. I love it.
Yes.
A brother, Okie Storm Chaser, gave me a Grants Ford Brooks axe. I love it.
What boots do we use? He uses these tan ones, and I use Cabela's. Usually it's like a keen.
Those are Keens, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a keen
No,
shoe.
you don't need to lift your leg up. You got
Okay.
a skirt
I
on.
was going to take my shoe off.
Oh, okay, you
Hello.
can do that.
And then it's really got a very stiff, very thick sole to it because of all the rocks. Yeah, that's oh. And
I'm not kidding.
Can you
Woof.
grab that outdoor boot I got?
Where-
Aren't those camouflage ones over
Oh,
there?
is that what
yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Your muck boots?
Yeah, I did get some actual insulated muck boots this winter, and they were really awesome. And I got
And they
them,
don't stink.
and I got them from Cabela's too. And you see everyone's wearing this style of thing in videos nowadays. But these are good. These are good for winter and wet. And then in the summer, I usually wear a Keen sandal because they can get wet and dirty and everything. I tear them up. I should do a commercial for those things. I wear them. Yeah. All right. Blessings to you both. Shalom. Thank you for the shotgun blast. Is that what somebody just said? Oh my gosh. That was a live sample. Thank you for the stream. Sheepdog Patriot. Always good to see all y'all.
Oh, y'all.
All y'alls. All the regulars. Am-I Prepper? Albo. I don't even know if he's on here anymore. Westhold Forge. Wabogan. Shalom from Western Australia. Wabogan, please comment on some of our videos. I want to know how you guys are doing over there after those fires and everything. And there are other believers in Australia. We get comments from them and stuff like that. Blessings from Norfolk. Whoa. George Williams. Brawley. Stephen Wilson. Thanks from the South Sand Vikings. Ozark Geek. Yes, always good to hear that and hear what you're up to, Mrs. Hermit Hill. I walk tiptoed and my bust out from where they bend. Ariet's bust out. Yeah. You've got to walk your boots. You've got to try on lots of different kind. I've gone through many, many different kind of boots. He said Bates boots. What else have we worn?
Belleville's.
Belleville's. What were the M ones? They start with an M?
Alta something. I just buy military combat boots.
The black ones.
Oh, high-tech Magnums?
Yeah, high-tech Magnums. He's worn those things in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah Boyles, shalom. Mark Chase, shalom. Randy Cat's dog. Sheepdog paid a great choice of new moderator, but I may be biased. I think you are a little bit biased. Evelyn Vincent, always good to see you. Craig, Lone Star Living, adios.
Adios, muchachos.
Yeah, Sergeant James.
Vaya con Dios.
Kyle, yes, wore Bates when he was in the military. Yeah. Merrill's. Evelyn Vincent, my son wore his Merrill's out, and I was not super impressed. Dannerfield boots still good. Are they?
Danner?
Field boots.
I don't know what field boots are, but Danner makes good boots.
Yeah, Danner made a good
expensive,
quality
though.
boot.
I
Lampkeeper,
can't afford 'em.
shalom. Saw you went live before I went to work. I didn't think y'all would still be on. Well, we're not, Lampkeeper. We're saying goodnight, but it's really good to see you. John Rice, God bless. You too, Narrowgate Homestead. Blessing to you and yours. You too, Sister Cassie. Always good to hear from you and see you. Lots of funding for fires has been redirected to the COVID fight. So down are going on their own. Wow. Wow.
What?
I didn't think about that. Australia's fires came right before the COVID
I remember
outbreak.
that. They were horrible.
And he just said that the money that was supposed to go to help with the fire damage is going to COVID. So
Well,
towns,
Australia's not a huge. I mean, it's a huge country geographically,
Right.
but people-wise, therefore money-wise, it's
Right.
not that big.
right, and they're kind of on the outskirts, and there was a lot of damage this past fire
Time to
season.
move to Tasmania.
Oh, I don't know if I'd say that. I don't know if I'd go with that. I'm thinking about getting some white boots made. My wife loves Solomon, said McMikey. You know what? Shh, time to shut down the batteries are now. No way, right? No way I'm with you, Wobogan. No way. Not going to Tasmania. My current pair of Timberland hiking boots are on year 5 already. You probably have tough young man feet too, Palmetto Paratrooper. When you get almost 60, your feet let you know when your gear is working for you or not.
Unless you're a former Green Beret, my boots work fine.
Takes money for free from for the free immigrants fund. Fluffy Puff, are you down in Australia too? Shalom, God bless.
Love Oz.
Yeah, we
Love
love
Oz, love Aussies. Really
yeah,
do.
Really do. Gotta. We have a fondness in our heart for a lot of people, though.
We do, but I think out of all the people in the world, Aussies are the most like true Americans.
18
True Aussies.
1800s Americans. They're
Well,
not so
what
much
I
like
call
modern
true
Americans.
They like dogs. They like guns. They're outdoorsy.
Yeah, right.
They're irreverent to authority.
Right?
They'll tell you
there's-
what they think.
Yeah. Oh, there's Wee Tree. Wee Tree, we were talking about you earlier. So sorry we didn't. let
Needed you,
know.
Wee Tree. Where were you, Wee Tree? Just kidding.
Right.
Had to make another moderator.
Envy, rural 21,000 people, Sister Kate. Thank you, Fluffy Pup. Envy, what's envy? No, not Nova Scotia. In Australia, where's envy?
NV?
Yeah.
I know New South Wales.
North Victoria?
I
Aussies are like Alaskans. There you go. Nevada, Southern Spirit. Nevada, USA, Fluffy Puff. Okay.
Nevada, Nevada,
Nevada,
Nevada.
not North Victoria. All right. Yeah, well, we got to go.
All right. Bless y'all.
Bless y'all. Thank you for swinging by. Keep your eye on this oil crash thing. It could be something very important. Shalom.
Now make sure you turn that all off.